My name is Lily. I'm 32 years old and I live and work in Denver, Colorado. After 10 exhausting days of back-to-back strategy meetings in Los Angeles, I came home with one simple wish: a hot shower, instant noodles, and some quiet jazz. But the moment I turned into the driveway, I knew something was wrong. My mom's rust-colored wrought iron patio set was sitting proudly on the front lawn, between two rows of lavender I had just planted this spring. A weathered wooden sign that read "Bless This Home" hung crookedly on the front door like a bad joke. And worst of all, the silver SUV I knew all too well, my dad's, was parked right in front of the garage, where I always park. I hit the brakes hard, heart pounding. No way! I pulled out my keys, stepped out of the car, and hadn't even grabbed my suitcase from the trunk when the front door swung open. "Welcome home, sweetheart." My mom's high-pitched voice rang out like it was a cheerful family weekend visit, not a blatant home invasion. She stood on the porch, holding a kitchen towel, grinning from ear to ear. I froze. "Mom? What's going on?" "Your dad's watching TV in the living room. Come in, I just made pot roast." She waved me in like she was hosting a garden party and turned back inside, leaving me standing in the yard with my suitcase and a rising wave of panic. I rolled my suitcase through the doorway and stopped cold. The living room wasn't mine anymore. The slate gray walls I had painted myself were now covered in a blinding shade of peachy pink. Family photos I'd never seen lined the TV shelves, alongside ceramic knickknacks I'd never owned. Everything sat there proudly, like I was the intruder in someone else's home. "I repainted, see? The old color was so gloomy. This brings the room to life." She said it like I should be grateful. I tightened my grip on the bag handle, voice low. "Mom, what are you doing? This is my house." "We're family, Lily. Why are you talking like that? You're hurting my feelings." She set down a tray of cookies on the table I'd just bought last month, now covered in lace and tiny flower decals. "Your dad retired earlier than expected and rent went up, so I figured..." This made the most sense. "And it didn't occur to you to call me first?" "If I had, you would have said no. I knew that. But families don't need permission." I glanced to the left. My work desk was gone. In its place, a leather recliner where my dad sat chuckling at an old sitcom. "Hey, kiddo, this place is cozy, just like I told you." He raised his glass like he was making a toast. I couldn't breathe. Every inch of this house was built by me. Overtime hours, careful choices, dollar by dollar. And now they'd taken it upon themselves to remake everything without asking. I swallowed hard, trying to steady my voice. "Where's my office?" "It's the den now," Mom replied without hesitation. "You've got to be kidding me." My voice cracked, fury creeping in. "Lily, don't overreact. I'm just trying to make this place warmer. Your dad needs a quiet space now that he's retired. And you? You're successful. You can work anywhere." I didn't answer. I just dragged my suitcase upstairs, heart heavy, head spinning. At the top, I looked back. "Mom, Dad, this isn't okay. We need to have a serious conversation." "Of course, sweetheart. Whenever you're ready." Her voice was syrupy sweet. I walked into my bedroom and closed the door. Thankfully, it was untouched. But I wasn't. I pulled out my phone, opened messages. My fingers shook as I texted Emma, the lawyer who helped me last year with a property dispute. "Need urgent legal advice. Family took over my house without notice, not joking." I hit send, then sank to the floor with my back against the door. This was it. I couldn't keep enduring this kind of love anymore. I woke up at 6 a.m., feeling completely out of place in my own bed. The pale blue walls I had chosen for restful sleep were still there, but everything outside that door no longer felt mine. When I walked into the kitchen, Mom was already there, robe flowing, making waffles on a brand new appliance I definitely hadn't bought. "Do you want your coffee with almond milk or whipped cream this morning?" she asked, like I was a guest in a boutique Airbnb. I opened the fridge. The jars of pickles, nut butter, and almond milk I always kept on the top shelf had been replaced with meatloaf, bottled lemonade, and a tray of pudding. I slowly shut the door. Did you throw out my food? I didn't throw it out, I just reorganized. That stuff doesn't suit the family's taste. I sat down, pulled out my phone. 5 unread messages from the bank. I opened one and froze. Transaction alert, your credit card was used at Denver Home and Garden, $1,870. Mom, I said, trying to stay calm. Who used my card to buy furniture? Oh, that. I just borrowed it, sweetie. Remember I said we needed a new dining set? The old one was depressing. I'll pay it back when your dad gets his tax refund. I set the phone on the table. When did you take my card from my wallet? Last night while you were showering. I needed it urgently, and you had already fallen asleep. I stared at her without blinking. My mother kept calmly slicing waffles like she was making breakfast for a 6-year-old daughter. Not a 32-year-old woman with a stable job who pays her taxes and bought her home with her own money. And my home office? Why is it suddenly Dad's room? My dad appeared just then, yawning as he sank into the leather chair I had saved up for 6 months to buy. You didn't use it that much, he shrugged. I need my own space to read the paper, do my Sudoku, and call Uncle Greg every morning. I even set up a landline. It's convenient. A landline. In the year 2025. I turned back to Mom, forcing down a sigh. Do you remember last year when you borrowed my car for a 1-week errand and then sold it without saying a word? That car was old, Lily. I got a good deal. I was planning to get you a new one, but the money went into some stocks Bernie recommended. You're young. You can ride the bus. I stayed silent. They didn't think they had done anything wrong. And this wasn't the first time. The year before that, Mom gave one of our relatives full access to my emergency savings account to help her daughter with medical bills. Later, she said I was selfish for freezing the account. I lost $6,200 to that act of kindness. And then there was her 60th birthday. She forced me to host it at my house the same week I landed a major project. She sent out invites, hired a DJ, and the only reason I even knew was when I got a text saying, "Don't forget the cake." I picked up my water glass, watching as Mom laid out a tray of pastries on the table. In the next room, Dad turned up the TV volume. Lily, what are you cooking for dinner tonight? Aunt Helen's coming over, you know how particular she is. I set the glass down. You invited someone over? To my house. Without asking me? Well, this is your house, but it's also the family's house. Don't be so petty. My throat tightened. I stood up, grabbed my phone, and went straight upstairs. I texted Emma. They've taken over my house, used my credit card, rearranged everything, inviting people over. I need legal advice. Urgent! A few seconds later, Emma replied. Are they on the lease? No. Any written permission for them to stay? None. They moved in on their own. Good. Start collecting evidence. I looked around my bedroom, the only place that hadn't been tampered with. But the rest of the house was quickly becoming a replica of the childhood I fought hard to escape. This time, I wasn't going to let them redefine my space, my finances, or my life. I used to yield. But now, I was taking it all back. I retreated into my bedroom and shut the door, like I was sealing off the last line of defense for my privacy. The lump in my throat tightened, a swirl of anger and helplessness. I picked up my phone and dialed the one person I trusted besides Emma. You're back? Naomi's voice rang out, warm with concern. She's been my best friend since college. I sighed. Yeah, and my home. Doesn't feel like my home anymore. What do you mean? My mom and dad moved in. No notice, no heads up, not even a phone call. Naomi was silent for 2 beats. What did they do? Repainted the walls, threw out all my food, took over my office, used my credit card to buy furniture, and tonight, Mom invited guests. I didn't even have time to catch my breath. I heard her curse under her breath. Naomi was the calmest person I knew, but she despised the kind of familial control disguised as love. Have you called your lawyer? I texted Emma. She's clearing her schedule to meet. Naomi paused, then said, You remember I went through something like this, right? With Aunt Rosie. Same playbook. Move in, take over, justify it all in the name of family. If you don't draw the line now, they won't stop. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. This time I'm not backing down. Do you want me to come by? I'm free this weekend. Not yet. But if Mom starts messing with the bedroom lock, I might need you to bring an axe. We both laughed, bitterly, but it gave me strength. After hanging up with Naomi, I sent a message to Ethan, my half-brother living in Austin. Me. Mom and Dad are at my place. Not a visit. They moved in. No permission? A few minutes later, my phone rang. You're kidding, right? Ethan's voice was muffled. Not. They moved all my stuff, replaced my furniture, and are acting like this is their home. Did you call the police? Not yet. I want to do it the proper way. I might have to file for a formal eviction. Want me to drive over and help? Not necessary. But there's one thing you can help with. Name it. Do you still have those messages Mom sent last year about helping manage my savings account? The ones where she gave cousin Nathan all my info without asking? I do. And the post where she bragged on Facebook that she used the money to restore our family's dignity after her ungrateful daughter refused to help. Perfect. Send them. The more evidence, the better. Once I received all the screenshots and recordings from Ethan, I sat down and documented everything from the beginning. Every dollar lost, every decision made on my behalf without consent, every call, every subtle manipulation hidden behind the phrase a parent's sacrifice. A message from Emma came at 9 p.m. I'm available at 1 p.m. tomorrow. My office is on the 10th floor at City Point. Bring every document you have. I replied with one word. Ready. That night, I couldn't sleep. Outside my room, the TV blared. The hallway smelled like the new vanilla candles Mom had bought. I heard her giggling on the phone with probably my cousin Jill, chatting about staying here for the whole summer. The next morning, I left the house early. Wearing a dark blazer, I carried every document I had, including the property deed in my name. I didn't say a word to my parents. No morning coffee, no goodbye. Right before I stepped out, I paused. I looked around the house I once knew, now staged like a mock-up of my childhood, rebuilt by someone else. And I thought to myself, if they think I'll play the same role again, they've cast the wrong actress. I walked out of Emma's law office with a thick file in my arms and a faint sense of control returning. Emma didn't say much, but her sharp eyes and the eviction papers said more than enough. When I returned home, the air had changed. Cars I didn't recognize lined the driveway. A handwritten sign hung on the front door. Welcome home party for Mr. and Mrs. Stone. I froze. Home? Who gave them permission to throw a party? Who allowed them to use those words? I walked in just as my mom was hugging some distant relative I couldn't name. Oh, Lily, darling, you're just in time. I was telling Aunt Margie that you also live here, when you're not traveling for work. Her voice was loud, drawing everyone's eyes to me like I was the intruder. This is my house, I said, enunciating each word. Of course, she replied with a smirk. The family's house. My father stood in the corner, awkwardly pouring wine, avoiding my gaze. I stepped back, pulled out my phone, and quietly recorded the scene. The house was packed with people. Laughter, moved furniture, a buffet table in the living room. All my personal photos had been replaced by blown-up wedding portraits of my parents, now proudly displayed in the center. I texted Naomi. They're throwing a party, recording everything, sending it to Emma. Minutes later, a message from Ethan popped up. Did you know Mom just called your boss? I went stiff. What did she say? She told them you're having a mental breakdown after a breakup, paranoid, and not fit to work. I nearly dropped my phone. Yes, I had recently ended things with Kyle. It was quiet, not serious, but that didn't stop Mom from spinning it into a tragic tale. I dialed Ms. Reyes, the head of HR. She picked up after 3 rings. Lily, I was just about to call you back. My mom called you? Yes. She claimed to be your legal guardian and said you're mentally unstable. I closed my eyes, forcing my voice to stay steady. I'm 32. I legally own my house. I work full-time. I'm completely fine. She has no legal standing. I know, Lily. Don't worry. Our leadership team dismissed the call. But if you need me to testify or send the recording, I'm happy to help. I thanked her and hung up. My hand trembled with fury. They weren't just invading my home. They were trying to dismantle my life, layer by layer. That night, Naomi came over with a small camera and a mini voice recorder. She helped me install cameras at the front and back doors and in my office. Ethan sent me an audio recording he had secretly captured from a conversation with Mom. Her voice rang out clearly. Lily doesn't know what she's doing. We just need to maintain our position, let the neighbors, friends see we still have control. That house needs an adult with vision. She's not managing it right. I forwarded the recording to Emma immediately. Early the next morning, I received an email from a local real estate agent. We confirmed the appraisal appointment requested by Mrs. Nancy Stone for this coming Tuesday. I held my breath. My mother was trying to sell the house. The house that was under my name. Not a single word on that document mentioned her. I immediately called the agent. The man on the other end sounded hesitant. I'm so sorry, I thought she was a co-owner. She said she was helping her daughter transfer ownership. She has no legal rights whatsoever. I'm the sole owner. If the appraisal proceeds, I'll file a property trespassing lawsuit. I completely understand. The appointment will be canceled. I forwarded the audio recording and the email to Emma. In less than 48 hours, my mother had thrown an unauthorized party at my house, called my boss with false claims to ruin my reputation. I attempted to sell my house without any legal right. When I stepped into my office, the room I had reclaimed with surveillance footage and evidence, I taped a note to the desk. The next time they come in here, it won't be for a party. It'll be to receive a court summons. That Monday afternoon, right at 2 o'clock, I walked into the living room, where my mother sat comfortably on the couch, chatting on the phone, her feet propped on the coffee table like it was her personal resort. I wore a dark blazer, holding a thick folder neatly tucked inside a red plastic sleeve. Mom. She looked up, quickly turned off speakerphone, and flashed a smile. What is it, sweetheart? I was just about to book a flooring service. This wood's so outdated, it's downright depressing. I placed the folder on the table without a word. What's this? An eviction notice. What kind of joke is this? Her voice shot up, like I just told her I was joining the circus. It's not a joke. You and Dad have 30 days to vacate. After that, if you remain, there will be legal consequences. She stared at me, then laughed out loud. Lily, you're stressed out. You can't possibly do this to your own parents. Yes, this is your house, but it's also where the family... You moved in without permission, used my credit card, threw a party, called my boss to tell lies that nearly cost me my job. And just last week, you tried to sell this house, which is under my name only. I spoke slowly, firmly, without raising my voice. She stood up, her voice shaking. You're hurting your own mother, letting your friends get in your head and turning your back on the woman who gave birth to you? No, Mom. I'm protecting everything I built, from the woman trying to tear it down. Just then, the front door opened. My father walked in, holding 2 grocery bags. He froze, seeing me and Mom locked in a silent standoff like a courtroom without a jury. I looked at him. I already filed the paperwork. You both have 30 days. He slowly set the bags down without a word. My mother turned to him for support. Grant, did you hear what she said? She's throwing us out like beggars, after everything we did for her. He dabbed his forehead with a handkerchief. Nancy, maybe it's time to go. Silence fell. You're siding with her? Her eyes widened. Not just wounded, but genuinely stunned. This isn't about sides, he said, voice low but steady. I've been quiet too long. I let you get away with too much because I didn't want tension. But now I see. Lily's right. You forgot who raised her through college? I did everything for this family. You didn't put her through college, Nancy, he replied. She worked 3 jobs to pay her tuition. I turned away, but I still heard the chair crash behind me. My mother had shot to her feet. If you think she's successful and competent without my help, then you're blind. That's exactly why I asked everyone to come today, I said, to make things clear. The doorbell rang. I opened it to greet Aunt Mira, Dad's younger sister, along with Uncle Sam, Cousin Lainey, and Uncle Tom, all older relatives who had once been close with our family when I was a child. I invited them because Mom had been using them for pressure in recent social events. We gathered around the dining table, where I pressed play on the small recorder Naomi had helped set up. This is my mother speaking to the real estate agent trying to sell my house without authorization. This is the text she sent my boss. And this, I paused, is a video of her saying I'm too busy to manage my home and that the family should take control instead. My mother lunged forward to grab the recorder. My father gently pulled her back. That's enough, Nancy. Aunt Mira cleared her throat. Nancy, last week you said Lily agreed to let you stay temporarily and even asked for your help redecorating. But from what we're seeing, you lied. No one defended her. She slumped into her chair, eyes wide, as if the world had just collapsed. I stood, gathering the folder. You're free to disagree, Mom, but the court will decide. If you want to settle this peacefully, the next 30 days are your window. I looked straight into her eyes. I don't hate you, but I won't let you keep controlling me in the name of family. When I left the table, no one stopped me. Only my father's voice, low and heavy, followed from behind. Lily, I'm sorry. I should have said this years ago. I didn't look back. Some apologies come too late, and some boundaries, if not drawn in time, will be trampled for a lifetime. That night, I got a notification from the security app. Motion detected in office, camera 3. I immediately opened my phone. The camera feed showed my mother rummaging through my desk drawer. She went through stacks of documents, pulled out tax records, insurance contracts, and a folder stamped confidential. Documents I was temporarily allowed to store at home by my company. I turned on the audio and heard her talking on the phone. I know the girl has something important in here. There has to be something proving she's financially or mentally unstable. I just need a reason to take this public. I was frozen. She didn't just want control anymore. She wanted to destroy me. I dialed the Denver Police Department, my voice oddly calm. Hello, my name is Lily Stone. I own the house at 42 Willow Street. I have camera footage of my mother unlawfully entering my private office, accessing personal documents, and intending to use them improperly. Would you like us to send a unit to investigate? I need a report filed tonight. 15 minutes later, when I got home, officers were already at the door. I let them in. My mother was still in the office, holding my bank statements. Mrs. Nancy Stone? The officer asked. I'm just checking my daughter's finances to help her, she snapped, offended. Those documents belong to Ms. Lily Stone, clearly marked as personal and confidential. By law, you are not authorized to access them, and copying or using them constitutes a breach of personal property. I'm her mother. I have the right. No, you don't. Please, step out of this room immediately. That's when I saw my father, standing behind the door. He was silent, but his expression had changed, no longer defensive, no longer avoiding. The officer continued the report and I signed the acknowledgement. Before they left, I heard my mother call after me. You'll regret doing this to your own mother. I walked back to my bedroom, thinking things had settled. But I was wrong. The next morning, while making coffee, the alarm sounded again. Camera 2, motion detected in keepsake room. I rushed to the screen. My mother was carrying the box that held the first oil painting I made in college, a piece once displayed in our senior student exhibit, and a deeply personal keepsake. I ran outside. She turned, still holding the framed painting, eyes defiant. Their freshman year. It belongs to me. No, I painted that. It's signed and was appraised by a gallery last year. You're trying to steal it. You call preserving memories stealing? I stepped closer to take it back, but she pulled away and slammed the painting to the ground. The sound of shattering glass cut through me like a knife. I couldn't say a word. Police returned after I called again. This time, I didn't have to explain much. The cameras caught everything. An hour later, they ordered my parents to vacate the house immediately, citing property damage and violation of temporary residency terms. My father didn't object. He quietly rolled his suitcase and handed me an envelope. I'm sorry. This went too far. This is the money from the car we sold last year. I kept it, but I should have given it to you long ago. I opened it. A check for $11,200. Exactly the amount they got for the old car I bought with my first graduation bonus. Did you know what Mom was planning? Not at first, but it became clearer each day. I've let her do too many unforgivable things. And I stayed silent. Not this time, I said quietly. Officers escorted them to the car. My mother struggled and shouted one last thing. You'll be alone forever because you don't know how to love family. I didn't answer. I just looked at her, like a stranger closing the final door to my past. As the car pulled away, I turned back inside, carefully picking up each shard of the broken painting. A week after my parents left, even the air in my little house at the end of Willow Street felt different. Each morning, I opened the living room windows wide, letting sunlight pour across the ash-gray walls. The color I chose, no one else. My home office was once again a place where I felt in control of my life. My laptop, my schedule, my organized bookshelf, and a new oil painting I was halfway through to replace the one that was shattered. I still remembered the sound of that breaking glass. But instead of pain, I now saw it as the final wake-up call, ending a 32-year illusion. The first message from my mother came 2 days after she left. I just wanted to ask if you had dinner. I made your favorite beef stew. I read it, then locked my phone. 3 days later, another text. I lost control the other day, but you should remember, I was only trying to help. I replied with a single line. All communication must go through email. No texts, no calls, and no surprise visits. Since then, my mother hasn't texted again, but I knew she was still watching. Naomi told me my mom had called her twice. Both times, Naomi declined. What surprised me more was my father. Almost every Friday afternoon, he sent me a short, straightforward email. This week, I joined a meditation class at the community center. I'm reading a book on setting family boundaries. If you're open to it, I'd like to invite you for coffee next month. I'll wait to hear from you. The first time I read it, I thought it was just another way he tried to smooth things over. But he never pushed. No follow-up emails unless I replied. And I found myself not hating that. The next Saturday, I hosted a small dinner. Just 4 people. Naomi, Ethan, Tyler, my closest work friend, and Ruby, my plant-loving neighbor who often brought me fresh vegetables. I cooked creamy mushroom pasta from scratch, played my favorite acoustic playlist, and for the first time, used the dining table my mother once called cold and lifeless. You look so different, Naomi said while pouring wine. You don't tense up anymore when someone mentions your family. I smiled. Because now the house is truly mine, not just legally, emotionally. Ethan reached for a bruschetta, chewing happily. Honestly, I wanted to say this in court, but the moment didn't feel right. I'm proud of you. I looked at my brother, who once distanced himself from our family by going to school and living far away, now sitting at my table, grounded, grown, and, oddly enough, supporting me. We all have to relearn how to exist without feeling guilty for having our own lives, I said, softer than ever. When the evening ended, Tyler was the last to leave. He helped me with dishes, then leaned against the kitchen door, looking around. I always knew you'd step out of that shadow. I just didn't expect it to happen this fast. I folded a dish towel. I wasn't fast. I was just tired of waiting for the right time. He nodded, saying nothing more. Before leaving, he handed me a small box. Inside was a restored print of the painting that had been smashed, recreated from an old social media photo. I choked up. Thank you, Tyler, truly. The following week, I got an email from Dad. Your mother wants to visit for Thanksgiving. I've made it clear, no visit unless there's a formal apology. Just wanted you to know where I stand. I reread that last line several times. Not because I needed him to take sides, but because, for once, he stood for what was right, without being told to. Lily's story is a powerful reminder that no one, not even family, has the right to invade your space or compromise your values. Family ties are not a free pass for control or abuse. Setting clear boundaries, no matter how painful, is the first step in reclaiming ownership of your life. In real life, you may have to choose between false harmony and true peace. And Lily made the right choice. She chose herself. What do you think about Lily's decision? Was she too harsh, or was it necessary to protect herself? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to follow this channel for more powerful and emotional family stories.